Welcome in, everybody. Let's see if I can keep it connected tonight. Now, just kidding. Sometimes things happen, to the very end of the show last night, technical difficulties, but we're back, man. HRS Late Nights. I am Tony Cutillo. This is brought to you, obviously, on the Heat Ratio Sports Network. Make sure you're following, subscribing, not only the network, but the show. Again, we've been having a fantastic time. My boys, Dave and Mark, just fourth and go, boys. I mean, we're off the 80 episodes. They go live, bring you right into tonight. And we got a full slate to talk to tonight, man. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. And again, call lines are open. Call lines are open. If you want to talk WWE, if you want to talk Jimmy Rollins, if you want to talk 76ers who get beat tonight on, hey, listen, it was a bad loss. I get it against Indiana, but at the end of the day, the young guys got some rock, some play. They showed they can handle the rock. Ricky Council, man, like I told you, this cat is legit. He continues to play well when he gets any kind of time, of whether it be with the Blue Coats or the Sixers. So again, a lot of great things to talk about, a lot of things going on, and the bombshell, again, the bombshell that drops in the WWE. We have to get into that. That's a huge story, man. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. This could be devastating to the WWE. And I say this, listen, I say this all due respect, now, if it's shown that Vince McMahon and not Brock Lesnar, okay, but if it's shown that Brock Lesnar, if these allegations are correct, I've seen these text messages, man. I'm not putting them up here because I'm not taking any kind of legality against me, but I'm going to tell you what, they are absolutely devastating. I'm going to tell you that right now. They are absolutely devastating. So we're going to get into that like we always do at the end of the show. We usually save that for the last segment. Unless, listen, if you want to talk about that before we get into the prelude of Vic Fangio and talk about Jimmy Rollins and what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles like we did last night, what's going on with the Philadelphia Phillies. They signed Colby Allard. I think it's a solid signing. But again, there's a lot of things to get into, man, and I cannot wait to get into this. But we already got somebody on the line, man. I have a feeling where he's going to go with this. Okay, we got my man Foods on the line. And my man Foods, what's going on, buddy?
Tony, happy Friday Eve. What's going on?
What's going on, buddy? What? Yo, man, come on. Let me know. Does the Vic Fangio move the needle for you, man? Does that move the needle for you?
I like it. I mean, I was kind of hoping Riverboat Ron, but hey, you're a year too late.
Yeah.
We should have had him. Should have just stayed all along, but the whole Gannon thing just kind of threw a wrench into the mix. So, and Nick knew Vic went on in Miami, but he's back in the fold.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight? How you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy, man. Listen, man. You know, Foods. I'm living a dream, bro. Like every day is a good day. Every day above ground's a good day for me, man. Like that's you know what I'm saying. I mean,
amen to that.
Right, take day by day. Don't think ahead of yourself too much, and just enjoy every moment, man. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, you're right, because tomorrow's not promised. I know
Nope.
It's cliche, but
yeah, I mean it's true. It's true, and we see it. I mean, even if we're not even talking about life or death, even in the world of sports, I mean, you could be great today and you could be trashed tomorrow, right? I mean, look what's going on with Carter Hart right now. I mean, that's terrifying.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I mean, this dude's on top of the world, and who knows what's going to happen, right? It's just it's really crazy, man, when you think about it. But I'm just surprised that there's so many people that are really willing to just throw in a towel already on Jalen Hurts.
Not me. I'm not.
Me neither. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Oh, I mean, no, what I was thinking the other day, Tone. It's like you really look back, maybe with the exception of 2018. You look at Super Bowl 39. You look at this year, like both road trips those 2 years, well, this year in '05, I mean, those years were just like a wash because, the whole TO thing, with the push-ups in his driveway and
Drew
the whole thing with
Rosenhaus.
McNabb. Right. And then you got all this going on and just, definitely the worst collapse in NFL history. Shame to say with us being Eagles fans, but, this team quit. There wasn't no urgency, no cohesiveness. Honestly, I'll say this. I couldn't wait for this season to be over with towards the end. These guys didn't have the heart and fire that they had last year.
They absolutely.
And they can only ride the ship now. I mean, Hurts is the Philly general, and he's got to get on the page. And I don't know who the OC is going to be, but it's going to be pretty interesting.
This is, and it's going to be interesting because I saw somebody made alluded to it today. I forget who it was, but it made me think. They said that technically that news conference was basically like a soft firing of Nick Sirianni. I mean, he essentially, right? I mean, he took the deal. The deal was you're not going to do anything. Like, you're just going to control the team and we're going to control everything else, right?
I guess he just made the deal with danced with the devil, as they say.
Yep.
I mean, commented last night, whoever, whether it's Fangio or whoever's, whether it's Kingsbury, Kellen Moore, whoever, the next man up to come in for an interview, I'm sure they'll be the one taking over at the helm.
Oh, well,
unless they get like a consultant to come in and plug that person in, but you would think it's definitely got to be Fangio or the next offensive coordinator if this team starts out, in the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, I think he probably has about 5 or 6 games, man. If this team starts out like 1-4 or 1-5, he's gone. I mean, he's gone, man. He's gone. I mean, I know it's the running theme, but the Eagles roll the roost right here, man, and they're going to be top story until this all gets situated, and there's going to be a whole off season of moves coming up. What's going to happen on the free agency front? Who are they going to resign? Who are they going to let go? I saw an interesting report today talking about market value, and somebody, coming out with some numbers, and the Saquon Barkley name kind of came up. And
I've seen that the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, now I know that's not normal for us, but I mean, listen, who knows? I mean, eventually these guys are going to have to change their tune a little bit. I really do think that.
Oh, right. I mean,
yeah, I mean, and if you get a guy like Cliff in here, and or Kellen Moore, and they say, listen, the offense I can design around a guy like Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, they're going to have to make that move, aren't they?
I would think, just depending on what the thing of it is today. Like, running backs, their big contracts are scarce now. Like, whoever thought that would have happened. But the league just changed over the last 10, 15 years, and running backs are like, they're not a premium anymore.
No, it's actually a shame, man. I think about that all the time. It really is a shame for these, for these guys that really they work their ass off to get to where they're at, and they're basically treated like trash. I mean, when you think about it, it's like they're completely indispensable, right? It stinks, and the thing is, that's one of the, even though they act like it's not important, it is important. It's
of course,
right? If you can't pay respect, you get your
look at the fullback position. How that went away.
Yeah, unless obviously you're a guy like a Kyle Shanahan who's still going to employ that first offense, and then you keep a guy like Kyle Juszczyk. You know what I mean? So it's listen, it's going to be interesting, but listen, flipping scripts a little bit, man. What's your take on J-Roll, man? Only getting 14.5% of the votes. I mean, what the hell are these writers thinking, Fuge?
I don't know. It's just, there's like you were pinpointing last night. Sheffield's another guy that really should be in the hall, and there's a lot of guys out there with have numbers, but it's more like a popularity contest to me.
Sure seems like it.
And a great guy a local guy that is a writer, Rob Motti. I had him on Broad Street South a couple times, real down to earth gentleman.
Yep.
I mean, that's a man to ask. I mean, with all the the baseball writers or the association they deal with today.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Rob's always, I mean, now he's doing stuff for Associate Press.
Right.
He's a good dude, man. He's always very personable and
right.
He's
real nice.
He really is.
Right.
But I mean, look, I can't believe Sheffield doesn't get in. He's got over 500 home runs. Obviously he would have been better if he didn't miss 4 or 5 years due to injury, but his numbers are there. I don't know, but me personally, like, I don't understand how Sheffield doesn't get in, but a guy like Jeff Bagwell's in there.
I mean,
I don't understand.
I think it's politics. Yes, if I don't know if like Bonds, Clemens, all those guys
they fell
ever
off.
get in.
Yeah, they
but I think
off.
But if they all get in, P. Rose better get in too, because all right, the guy did bet on baseball, which is a mortal sin, but put him in for what he did on the field, not for what he did
I
after.
agree.
I mean, some people. I've heard he's a nice guy. I heard he's a scumbag. I mean, I'm not one to judge, but put him in for breaking Ty Cobb's record. He's the all-time hit leader. He ain't ever going to see that broke ever again.
Never broke.
Not in this lifetime.
And here's the thing: you don't let Pete Rose, and I know it's a different sport, but you give Calvin Ridley a 1-year suspension in NFL, and he can come back and play. But we can't. But Pete can't get in the hall. Like
exactly.
And the guy who gave on the ban at Faye Vincent's freaking dead. Like,
right.
It's ridiculous to me. It really is. I know there's a lot of baseball purists out there to talk about it's a black eye for the game and this and that, but look, man, he's done the time, man. Like, literally, he's done the time. You've basically, you've washed everything away from, just like Barry Bonds. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm a big Barry guy, and it's like, look, man, you did everything already. Like, what else can you do? I mean, he suffered enough, and whether he was doing it or not, I mean, look, we all know he was, but it actually wasn't proved that he was, right? But at the same time, everybody was doing it, Foods. Everybody at that time was doing it.
I mean, Selig knowing 98 between Sosa and Mark McGuire, I mean, he turned a blind eye to it.
Of course he did.
Breaking Roger Maris's record.
He was lining his pockets with the revenue. He didn't say a damn word.
Of course, right. But baseball ratings were down, and that basically resurrected the game with ratings.
Exactly. And guess who's in the Hall of Fame? Bud friggin' Zelig. Right? Like, Bud Zelig's in the Hall,
right?
But Bonds ain't in the Hall, and it's just so crazy, man.
So talk about a shyster cashing in often.
Exactly. Oh my God, he looked like one too, for real. I really did, man. He really did. Foods, man. Listen, man. What take us out on something here, brother. What's on your mind? What's your final thoughts here? What's on your mind, brother?
I want to see the Phillies are going to bring in a legitimate closer. I'm tired about this closer by committee stuff. After Hader went to the Astros last year, talking about cashing in. I mean,
I don't know if I would have paid for him though, man. That's a
no,
lot of
I know. I read something today. I forgot the closer that was on Cleveland. I can't think of his name, but I mean, get somebody that's going to be a legitimate closer. I'm tired about this bullpen by committee stuff.
Yeah, I unfortunately I think you have it with Topper, man. I think Topper set on that, man. He's gonna, he's gonna play.
Kills me.
Yeah, I know. It's it's gonna be tough.
I mean, who's the last legitimate closer the Phillies had?
Brad Lidge, Papelbon.
Yeah,
probably Papelbon, right? I mean,
I know Ken Giles had a cup of coffee here, but
yeah,
before they traded him.
Yep.
That's almost 10 years ago.
I know. Wow, it's crazy, isn't it? Jeez.
Big time.
Billy Wagner, man. Billy
Wagner.
He
went to the Mets.
He just missed too. I think the Hall. He just missed.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean,
here's another guy that Philly should have signed instead of Polanco. Adrian Beltre.
That's right.
They had a chance in him.
Yes, we did.
He well deserved to get in.
Very, very humble, very modest, loves the game.
Played it the right way.
Good for him.
Hell of a bat and a hell of a glove at the hot corner.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, man, he really made a name for himself out there in Texas.
He did.
But instead, who we get? Michael Young at the end of his career. Remember?
I mean, this city's always been big on getting has-beens. You could do a whole show. You could do a 3-hour show on that.
Yep, I know, man.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, or we
Murphy.
the wrong brother. Like we get Jeremy Giambi instead of Jason Giambi. You know what I mean?
Mike Maddox.
Yeah, exactly. We're always getting the wrong guy, man. We're always getting the wrong.
Of course.
Guy. Unbelievable.
At least we struck gold with Kelsey.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they both panned out.
Yeah,
I don't want to hold you up.
You're all good, brother. I appreciate you calling me in. You got to do me a favor though, man, before you go. I know you're driving, but I know it's tough, but I got to hear an Eagles chant, bro. I know you got the passionate Eagles chant, Foods. I know. I need it, man. I need you to set me out from the Eagles chant.
I can't wait, to be joining the family here. So,
yes, sir.
Everybody, here we go. EAGLES, Eagles!
My man, Foods. Be safe, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, I'll chime in. Have a good one. Everybody have a good night. Good weekend. Be safe.
You got it, buddy. You too, Foods. You too, man. My man, Foods. Oh, man, that was great. Did you hear that chant? Yeah, my man is... See, that's one thing I always say, man. It's the passion, right? You can't take the passion out of Philadelphia. So my man Foods gonna be doing some things with HRS with Heat Ratio Sports. Can't wait to bring him on board. Doing some really cool segments, some very fan passionate segments, which is gonna be cool because that's what we like to do here. But a lot of comments get to it. My man David, what's up, brother? He says Brock Lesnar sucks. Listen, he might suck after all these allegations, brother. I could tell you that. Adam says Fangio was the man they wanted in the first place. Yep, we all know about that. A lot of them have steroids on their name. That's what messes them up for the Hall of Fame. You're talking about Barry Bonds. My man Mike Dynasty Dogs talks about, speaking of Bonds, there was no better time in baseball than when steroids were running wild. Isn't that crazy? Like when you think about that. Like just thinking about that right there. It always seems like there's that time, right? And it always seems like there's something about that time that kind of takes that moment away. But that time in baseball, I don't know if there'll ever be another time. And listen, I know Mike's a wrestling guy. I know Adam listens a wrestling guy. David, you're probably a wrestling guy, even though you think Brock Lesnar sucks. But it's just like saying there'll never be another Attitude Era time, right? There'll never be another time. Even though I can tell you this, in the world of wrestling right now, it's pretty damn close. Like, wrestling's hot right now. And I know we're going to get into those allegations later. Shout out to Mike for giving me the insight to that. And I started digging, and I was on a Facebook page called Dirt Sheet Radio, and I was reading these text messages from Vince McMahon. And wow, that's all I got to say is whoa, 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 whoa. If this is legit, the WWE is going to have a problem on their hands, because listen, they could scoop Vince under the rug, right? Because he's technically not a part anymore. But if you're going to throw Brock Lesnar into the mix, and if Brock Lesnar, I don't even want to get into it, man. I don't want to get into it. All legalities going about with that. All I know is they're in some pretty deep water. And I will say this: creative has already pulled Brock Lesnar. All creative plans right now, from what I've read from David Meltzer and the head honchos that write for the big dogs in professional wrestling, Brock Lesnar has been pulled from creative plans as of right now. That's a huge deal. The Royal Rumble is in 2 days, right? Actually, like a day and a half. And I'm damn sure certain that Brock Lesnar was going to make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. And now you like, this is the problem. You legitimately, the domino effect, right? So you pull Brock Lesnar from creative, and depending on what he was going to do, now you have to rewrite the entire script, man. You have to rewrite the entire script. This could affect matches. This could affect so many things going forward for WrestleMania season. Mike says they could throw Vince under the rug. But the problem is, the second you hear WWE, even if you haven't watched in decades, you know the name Vince McMahon. It's a good point. I mean, obviously, it's a good point. But, now that you have Trips as the lead, and as long as Nick Khan isn't represented in any way or implicated in any way, they say face. But if a current active wrestler on the roster is implicated, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big problem. And I'm speaking of Brock Lesnar. And I'll tell you what, some of those text messages, they had Johnny in there too. Just so you know, Johnny's name was in there too. Okay, so this is going to be an issue. And we haven't even begun. We haven't even begun to take all the pieces about it. But I can tell you this, man, it is going to be huge. Listen, man, it's HRS Late Nights, Heat Ratio Sports. If you're listening on Facebook, if you're listening on YouTube, and you're listening on X, wherever you're listening from, the link is in there. You want to get live on the line, just like my man Foods was last night. My man Sean called in. Have a conversation. Let me know what's on your mind. If not, comment away. We'll get to the comments. We'll continue to talk. We want to talk about Vic Fangio tonight. Does that move the needle for you? What do you think? With all the names, I personally would have rather had Wink Martindale. I think Wink would have been a more, I would say, aggressive, a more Jim Johnson-esque kind of defensive coordinator. And I could tell you something right now. You know why Wink Martindale was not going to be the guy? Because Wink Martindale is an outspoken dude. Wink Martindale is not afraid to speak his mind. Well, that's why him and Dable clashed a little bit, right? Because Dable's a guy who wants to full control. And, he basically was telling Wink sometimes what he wanted him to do. And Wink's not going to buy it. So you think that Wink was going to come in here, or Howie was going to allow? Because remember, I'm saying Howie because he is the head coach, in my opinion now, not Nick Sirianni. So I'm looking at Howie saying, I'm not bringing this guy in. He's going to tell me what to do and what not to do. No way. At least Vic, they're comfortable with. He's been in the building. He knows the culture. He understands. And listen, he wants to be. See, this is the only thing I will say I don't like about the Vic Fangio hire. I like it from the simple fact that he's a veteran presence. He has head coach experience. He understands how to coach players. And I know reports came out. And why the frig is Drew Rosenhaus, by the way, speaking out? Like, honestly, like, where did you rip Drew Rosenhaus from to come out and talk about how some Miami players, didn't like playing for him, and there was something like, stop, man. Like, first of all, dude, do your hair before you start doing a segment. Like, he looked ridiculous. Looked like he just woke up and popped on a video. And at first, I don't even think he knew the video was on. But I don't really care what Drew Rosenhaus has to say. What do I care? Like, honestly, why? Because you're one of, you leak things to the media like all the time. So I'm supposed to take your word as credible? Yeah, okay, stop. So I'm not even looking at that. But my problem is with Vic is I feel like this is a soft hire for the Philadelphia Eagles, because read the reports. What did he want to do? He's a huge Phillies fan. You read the quotes, right? The quotes say that he never goes to bed before he finds out the Eagles won or lost. He follows the score. He follows the team. His family is in Pennsylvania. He wanted to be close, and I think it's in Allentown. He wanted to be close. So they basically got him by the balls a little bit, right? So they're, in the sense that they bring him in and they know that he's going to follow to the beat of the drum because he wants to be here. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. I just think that, that's the problem, because now you have another puppet, and I hope that he doesn't kind of put his tail between his legs and not speak up when things go awry. That's the only thing. My man Mike says, I like the vet coach you said, but 15th in passing defense, all that defensive talent makes me a little nervous. So, yes, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, but they weren't always healthy. So it's honestly, you have to look at it. I think those numbers are a little misguided. There was a lot of blowouts within those numbers, right? So when you think about it, they score 50, they score 56. They're not playing defense anymore, right? They're playing garbage time. They're playing prevent. Some of those points were scored then. They didn't have Jalen Ramsey the entire year. Howard was banged up a little bit every now and then. They lost Bradley Chubb towards the end, but I can't look at those numbers. I actually, there was a time I didn't do the math, but there was a time this year when people were talking about the Dolphins. I think in like the first 6 or 7 weeks is, wow, what a defense they have out there, right? I mean, there was times where they were legitimately talking about the defensive scheme that they were employing out there, and it was really, really good. So what they first do that, I look at that and I say, okay, Vic was doing something right. And he's seen a lot of this, a lot of these defenses here in the NFC. Or offenses in the NFC. Remember, he was the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And when you think about it, that's why I do like him. But I do think that, the other reason why I like him too is we actually got the guy, not the, next coming of. We actually got the guy. So I do like that. I'm a little concerned that this could be a soft landing for him, just based on the fact that he wants to be here, and they kind of know that, and they figure, you know what, this dude's not going to cause no waves. He's not going to have any issues. He's just going to kind of do what we need him to do, and everybody's going to be happy. And I don't necessarily know if that's the case. And he's going to have a big role in what this defense does, because I do feel, though, they respect him more, obviously, than a Sean Desai. Now, the thing that'll be interesting is if he recommends that they possibly change their process of the way they would evaluate certain positions on defense, and maybe they do go and they get another linebacker, right? Maybe they do go out there and they get a big time safety. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do. I just know that we have somebody that is a veteran and we have somebody that has done it before. And for once, I want the guy who's done it, and I don't want to make the next big shiny toy into the next bust, because that's sometimes what we tend to do. But just remember, there's, remember the name Vance Joseph, right? Vance Joseph came in here for an interview for the defensive coordinator job. And there was rumors that that's who the Eagles wanted. Guy who's done it before, right? Veteran guy who's done it before. He went back to the team that fired him as a head coach to become the DC under Sean Payton instead of coming here. You want to know why? It's obvious, because he wanted some say, and he was told he wasn't going to have any say. That's what he was told. And poor Sean Desai comes in here because he figures, you know what? I'm just going to go and roll with it because I think I'm going to be a head coach anyway, because I had the recommendation of Pete Carroll. At the end, he kind of gets boned. He gets screwed. I still think Desai got a raw deal. I'll argue that with anybody, man. I think Desai got a raw deal. I do. I mean, come on, man. Like, it was it really that bad in 8 or 9 games? I don't know. I'm sorry. I have a hard time believing that it was that tough. I do. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it all maps out. I think it's going to be a very, very telling offseason, to say the least, to find out what direction this team is going to go into. And we're going to be talking about it a ton. We're going to be talking about it a ton. So we spent a lot of time on it last night, but I do want to get into some Phillies talk tonight, because before we get into the wrestling talk, because we got a big weekend coming up, and the Royal Rumble is here, and there's a lot of rumors going on about who's coming back, who's not coming back, who shall win, what's the match. Is it, currently right now, it looks like, we're going to have the Roman Rock match. Obviously, we're going to have Cody and Randy. But the reports with Cody Rhodes about not being able to finish the story and possibly not being happy about it, and it's definitely interesting. I will say that it's definitely interesting to see in what direction they go. Because obviously we're talking about it now, and anything can change. A lot of things can change. Listen, like I said, these allegations, these things can change everything, right? These things can change everything. But just this year alone, now that you have a guy like Brock Lesnar, who essentially could be out of the mix because of the allegations. Now, what big storyline was he going to go into? I'm pretty sure he was going to battle with Gunther. And what's interesting? Here's what, I'm thinking about this on the fly right now, but if you watch Monday Night Raw and you see Seth Rollins, and all of a sudden Gunther comes out, and you're thinking, wait a minute, Gunther? What happened to CM Punk? What like, and then all of a sudden now it's Gunther versus Rollins for WrestleMania. That looks like what they're building towards. I think that's the replacement. I think Rollins is the replacement for Lesnar, because it makes sense. Think about it. You have Rollins, who's going to rehab, and he wants to get back, and he figures he can come back. But during that rehab time, you're going to go through these allegations where Brock's not going to be a part of creative. So if Brock's name gets cleared and Seth is good to come back, then they can flip the script, do something in the storyline, and they still wind up with Punk and Seth, and they still wind up with Gunther and Brock. So there's ways that they can do this. So I think it was pretty telling. I have a feeling they knew that this was coming out. I do. I think they were given a heads up. I think they were given that little nudge. And I think that's why all of a sudden Gunther's coming out and he's talking about the Seth Rollins. And I do. I think that, they had to make a pivot, right? They had to make a pivot. And then you saw, obviously you got Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. So it's going to be really interesting. It's just going to be really, really interesting. I'm actually really, really interested on what goes on with the women. I think the women are going to be the most telling. So right now, looking at the landscape, let's talk about who wins the Royal Rumble. Let's just go slide right into wrestling tonight, man. Let's slide right into wrestling tonight. And again, if you want to give us a call, phone lines are open. Everything is the link is right there. We already had a couple calls already tonight. The link is there. Click on the link, get on the line. But who wins the Royal Rumble? That's what I want to know. Who wins the Royal Rumble? Who wins for the women? Who wins for the men? Who's the surprise entrance for the men? Who's the surprise entrance for the women? That's what I want to know. I want to know who those surprises are. And I'm going to throw this out right now because I'm damn sure ready to just say Sasha Banks is coming back. Like everything, every signal that I see, every sign that I see, it's got to be Sasha Banks coming back, right? I mean, is there any way she does not return? I don't think so. I mean, she was supposed to debut for AEW, and now we're going 3 weeks, and she still hasn't come back. All of a sudden, now she shows up. Her song is now all of a sudden trending on Spotify. Why? Like, you just think about it, there's a lot of signs out there, right? There's a lot of signs out there. So, looking at that, will she come back and will they automatically resume a storyline with? No, I don't think so. But I do think that, you have a lot of scenarios here with Bailey. I think that they're very high on Bailey. But the interesting thing about Bailey is, does she, in order to win the Rumble, and in order to go to WrestleMania, and in order to face Io Sky, who is the face and who is the heel? Because Bailey's been on record saying that she loves being a heel. And she's very good at it. Very, very good at it. And if that is the case, then all of a sudden you're going to make Damage Control. Are they going to be the face? I don't know if that works, man. I don't know if that works. And it's very rare when you have heel versus heel. I mean, we've seen it with, I think, Triple H and Kurt Angle in previous Royal Rumble world title match. So I mean, it's very odd when you have heel versus heel, but based on what happened to Charlotte, being out of action, I'm not sure what's going to happen now with Becky. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Bianca Belair. There's a lot of speculation that Becky was ready to take some really long time off, possibly like years, going to just be a mom and to kind of let her body heal. And because it's tough, man. Like, when you are a power couple with a child, right? So, you're watching the new series with Bianca and Montez, but the thing is, they don't have any kids. When you're a power couple and you have a kid and you're on the road all the time, that's tough, man. That is tough. So eventually, you look at it and say, okay, in my opinion, who can take time off and still be able to come back and not have to endure as much stress? And obviously it's going to be Becky, right? It's going to be Becky. She's not the world champ. She's not in the top storyline right now. It's her with Nia Jax. And if Sasha Banks comes back, which we're all expecting, if Sasha Banks come back and, maybe AJ Lee, maybe, I'm hearing possibly a Mickey James, coming back, and, I'm hearing a Trish Stratus, right? Trish Stratus. I mean, you think about the storylines that they're going to have to build up for WrestleMania season. And I'm sure, when you think about it, it'll probably be a storyline of Trish versus Mickey James, right? Go back to, that whole angle that they had. I'm sure that's something real that they're thinking about. I'm sure they're thinking about, listen, AJ Lee, even though she's involved heavily in WoW, not as a wrestler, but as an executive. But I'm still thinking that they're probably looking at her to make some kind of return. But I think there's no way. I think we already know Naomi's coming back. And that's going to be in the Rumble. We know that. But what better way? I mean, you could see this is what's going to happen. This is my prediction. Sasha's returning. Naomi's returning. They both enter the Rumble, and they both work as a team. And then all of a sudden, it's the Rumble. One turns on the other. Probably Sasha turns on her. So now you have Naomi as the face. You have Sasha as the heel, and we're right. We pick up right where we left off. So I do feel that could be the direction that we talk about. But either way, the Royal Rumble is, in my opinion, the best time of the year. It's better than WrestleMania. It's better than SummerSlam. It's better than Elimination Chamber. Honestly, in my opinion, it's better than everything. It is, because you just, not only do you not know what's going to happen, the anticipation of the numbers and who's going to come out, but it's the build to WrestleMania, and this year is bigger than them all. It is. It's bigger than them all, because you see with The Rock being back and involved, and this just doesn't make, in my opinion, one more match. This makes The Rock heavily involved in this bloodline story. And you think it's a coincidence that they name Ava, his daughter, the GM, right? The GM of NXT. I don't think it's a coincidence, right? Not at all. They know that this is all going to culminate in this huge storyline, man. My man David says Bianca Belair will win the Royal Rumble again. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just have, what? Something with Bianca. I really like Bianca, right? I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but something tells me that they feel that she's more important to them without a belt than with a belt. And what I mean by that is, listen, she got the series, right? She got the life series, the reality TV show. Remember when they had the Diva show, right? And that was a huge deal. That was a big seller for them. Big seller. And right now, even though this stuff is filmed, she's going to be making a lot of appearances, and she's going to go a little Hollywood, man. And I think that they're happy with that, because she's such a professional. She is such the consummate pro. And what better representation of your company than a Bianca Belair? And I know everybody wouldn't that be champ? Yeah, I get it. I understand, but they can't have another champ that's going to wrestle 4 times a year like Roman Reigns. So they need somebody that's going to be able to be the champ. But they definitely going to have her out there, shaking hands and kissing babies, so to speak. I think that's why. I just don't think that's why. I mean, I should say, I think that's why they're not going to have her win the Rumble. That's just my own opinion. Bianca Belair is a modern day Simone Biles as a women's wrestler. I'll tell you what, she is put together, man. She really is. She works her ass off, and it shows. It does. It shows, man. She is a specimen. Isn't that what they say? She's a specimen. But to think that I just don't know, man. Now you say Trish Stratus, my favorite. I love Trish. I don't know how you don't like Trish. Like, not you. I'm just saying in general. I'm not sure how people don't like Trish. Now, she was the OG, man. She was the OG in the women's division, in my opinion. She was the first one with the charisma, the first one to cut promos. She was the first one to her and Lita, right? Headlining Monday Night Raw, steel cage matches. whatever she had to do, man. Trish Stratus did, and I commend her for that. I do. I commend her for that. She wanted to prove that she wasn't just all looks and glitz and glamour, right? That she was a legitimate professional wrestler, and she knew how to entertain, and she knew how to cut promos. She knew how to hold her own, and she did. For my money, best women's wrestler of all time, Trish Stratus. I mean, can anybody argue that? Can anybody tell me that there's a better female out there, past or present, than Trish Stratus? I don't think so. With all due respect to the fabulous Moolah, with all due respect, it's got to be Trish Stratus, man. It's got to be. It's got to be. Trish Stratus is the modern day Nadia, becoming a second perfect 10. Yes. Listen, I'll tell you what, man. The best thing that the WWE ever did was create NXT. I just keep saying that. I do. By them creating that platform and that ability for those wrestlers to go in there and learn their craft and perfect their move sets and perfect their bumps, and being able to do that and then learn from veterans, right? When it first started, you're learning from Dusty Rhodes. Now you're learning from HBK Shawn Michaels. You have King Albert, right? That's still there. That's doing tremendous work. It's just, they come up and they're so polished and they already know. And that's what's great, man. And that is just great for the business, because now the business continues to have talent that can be inserted directly into a flowing storyline with professionals, and they don't have to worry about it. The Rook knows what to do or not. And it's a really cool thing, man. So I enjoy watching the NXT product. I enjoy watching these people grow and looking at the landscape of these young wrestlers, women and female and male. They got a long list, man. You have a long list. Yeah, you have guys that are up there, right? Randy Orton. You're getting AJ. Listen, AJ, love AJ Styles, but I think he's 47, 48. I think I know AJ Styles is coming out, been pretty vocal. He does not plan to wrestle till he's 50. Okay. Like in his mid 50s. Like you're gonna see AJ Styles, I think, have one more really big run. And I think you're going to see him kind of fade away like Cena did. And I think he's got one more title run in him, man. I do. I think that they can strap AJ up. AJ will sell tickets. AJ will run killer promos, and AJ will continue to be the ultimate pro. So, his move set, he has 2 to 3 different finishers he can employ at any time. He has stamina inside the ring. He has he commands a ring presence. He understands breaks. He understands structure. So and that's huge when you talk about any kind of wrestling match, whether it be amateur wrestling, whether it be professional wrestling. So I mean, listen, this is going to be an exciting weekend. It is, and speaking of exciting, I mean, you got to turn to the men, and you got to think, who is it? Just inevitable that CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble? And when you think about it, like, isn't it inevitable that it's going to be CM Punk? Maybe it's not, right? Maybe they flip the script, and that's the thing. You just never know. And I think this is honestly, this is what Triple H has employed now. He has employed a strategy that says, look, we just don't have 1 or 2 headliners. We have 6 or 7. And because we have 6 or 7, we're going to consistently make your brain work and think and try to figure out what the hell we are doing. So, that's what happens when you have so much talent. you're afforded that opportunity to be able to do that, to be able to stump some people, to be able to disguise a plan. And I again, that's what he could be doing. I don't know. But based on what happens in this Rumble, whatever happens, that's what's going to come out, man. That's what's going to come out. It's going to be the road to WrestleMania based on this Royal Rumble, who it's going to be, what they're going to do, and what the storyline's going to do. And when we talk about men, it almost seems like it has to be CM Punk, but they do have the Elimination Chamber. So if there was a spot where they really want to trick people up, they could put the belt on somebody for a month, right? They could, or a few weeks, and then have them lose it, unfortunately, in Perth. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if that's what they want to do, because I don't think you could do it any other way. I don't think you can do it any other way. I don't. I think that's the only way to do it. All I know is I just hope they they don't give us no stiffs in there, man. Like, I don't want to see like Dilberg. I think that's so ridiculous. Like, I want nothing to do with that. I don't. So it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to have, man, I couldn't even tell you, man. Like, they always bring these people back. I don't know where they get them from sometimes, but are you going to get our prototypical Rob Van Dam entrance? Comes in, does a couple things, he's out. It was like, remember back in the day, you used to have Santino Marella. Remember Santino? Santino used to come out, do some dumb shit with the dragon, him and Emma. So I mean, you just never know who's going to come in. You don't. You really, really don't. But let's swing over. And again, if we got Brock Lesnar, Vince McMahon allegations, what's your thoughts? Who wins the Royal Rumble? A little Vic Fangio talk, little Jalen Hurts talk, and the Jimmy Rollins talk, man. Like, Jimmy, Big Larry Boa comes out today, Phillies legend, obviously, talking about, wait a minute, this guy is one of the best shortstops to ever play the game, and an MVP, and at one time, one of the top players in the game, and he can only garner 14% of the vote. Really? How is that? How is that? This is crazy to me. So we'll see what happens. It was his first year of eligibility, I think. So, we can argue if he should have been a first ballot. I do think he gets in eventually before his time is up. But I just don't understand the waiting period. Like, I never understood that either. Like, so you say no now. You say no now, but what makes you change your opinion later? The guy's retired. He's not. There's no more stats to add. There's nothing more to do, right? So that's the crazy part to me. That's the crazy part to me. Because when you think about it, the guy, his stature is not changing. So if he's not changing, then why are you waiting to vote him in the next time? I do. I just think that, sometimes they overthink the situation. I really do. I think they overthink a lot. I think that's normal. But, we had a lot of really, really good comments that I did not read last night that I want to read tonight. Talking about, number one, we know about the press conference, but I posted a vote, not a vote, but a little engagement piece yesterday, and I had a lot of good comments. I said, what do my Eagles peeps think about the press conference? And Sean hopped on the show. My man Jim says, it makes me sick. The team quit on Sirianni and coaching staff, and Howie says we hit a rough patch or hit a tough patch. It was a historic collapse. Exactly. So again, so you think about that, and it's there's Howie trying to sugarcoat it, right? Rich says, I have said the same thing when he's talking about other coaches. He says, Howie, when he does fire Nick, it will again be a coordinator or a coach who wants to no, who doesn't want to say no and just says yes. Howie won't give out the power. When the organization did, he went to the broom closet, which was under Chip Kelly. It's still hilarious to me. My man Jason Lee check out Jason's podcast. So he's got a Philly sports podcast. If you follow Jason Lee, obviously you will get the link. I don't have the link on me, but he does a fantastic job with some great guests. He just had Ricky Ricardo on, and longtime voice of the Phillies. So, he talks about a lot of cool things that maybe you didn't think about. That's a little different from the norm. So check his podcast out. He writes, I don't feel any better after that press conference. I feel worse. I saw a lot of tension between the two of them, meaning Howie and Nick. He says, two guys who don't seem to like each other. I also saw a GM who felt out when he was getting asked questions, and a GM who felt had to help his coach answer questions because the coach has a tendency to babble on and without saying anything of substance. And the fact that it started the way later than scheduled was a really bad look, which I completely agree right there. He says this team just so disorganized right now in so many different ways. That's what scares me. It's already dysfunctional, and it's not showing it's going to change anytime soon. Coach Dave checking in with, this is an absolute embarrassment to all the Eagles fans. The ownership should be ashamed of itself. Our fan base deserves better. We travel to all the away games with the price of tickets for home games, all of the merchandise that we purchase. And why should we do that when all we hear are lies and you give us this? Jeffrey doesn't have the courage that we need him to have as the owner of our franchise. Howie's been here for over 10 years, and Nick shows that he's not the leader of men. Powerful statement, man. Powerful statement. Big Albert checks in, says, Tony, isn't it fishy that the guy who implemented the defensive schemes and the guy that said we are running my offense is the one that stayed? Howie must go. I agree. Eric says if they start 1-5 next season, they'll fire him, and we will be stuck with some unknown guy. Yeah. It's going to go that way. Our good friend of the program, Joe, says, love how Nick said he might sit in on a defensive meeting. Shouldn't have been a follow-up at how many he sits in now. Of course, Joe. They weren't going to. Nobody was going to ask that. The ESP was going to ask that. He's afraid to get his car revoked. He's basically an assistant GM, only a mouthpiece, since they don't want to fire and hire another controllable, inexperienced head coach. Very, very good statement there. And last one, Food says, this press conference was a flat-out joke and disagree to all Eagles fans. I have to go on a rant for this and blow a gasket. These two jokers sit up and waste everyone's time and to insult our intelligence. So that was yesterday. Again, that is on my personal Facebook page. Throw it up there. You can follow the Heat Ratio Sports Facebook page. You can get that there as well. The biggest thing is make sure you subscribe and you like the show. Going to keep doing this, going to keep having some fun. And listen, we're coming up on a weekend, man. We're coming off the weekend. I'm feeling good right now. We started off pretty much on time. We had a really decent, a lot of wrestling talk tonight. I want to keep it kind of simple. I want to keep it short and sweet because I have a lot of stuff going on. Weekends coming up. We had a long week. So with that being said, man, I like the Vic Fangio move. I'm going to say it again. I'm waiting for it to be announced. I think it does move the needle a lot further than I thought it would have. I'm just afraid that it could be a soft hire, meaning they know they have him by the you-know-what, because everybody likes because he has family in Allentown, because he likes being in this city, because he's been in this building, because he's a Phillies fan. Again, I think it could be a soft hire because I feel like he won't give up a lot in order, and not be able to see those games. Like, he's not going to give up anything, right? But if he wants to be here, he's more inclined to be able to grant the wishes of the team, even if they're a little extreme, if that makes sense. So, but look, I bought my own trophy. I don't need anything else, right? When you think about it, it's like you know, the statement. I bought my own trophy. You know, I don't need anybody else to give me a trophy. So that's the kind of guy Vic Fangio is. Like he doesn't want the flowers. He's an old school dude, right? He doesn't want the trophies. He doesn't want the flowers. I mean, he wants the championship trophy. I'm talking individual, right? I'm talking individual. So listen, I'm just glad it's not a guy that we have to, you know, reinvent the wheel, right? It's one thing I do like. Now, speaking about Jimmy Rollins, I think it's a disgrace that he only gets 14.8% of the vote. I think it's crazy. I'm going to continue to think it's crazy, but unfortunately, they vote on all different attributes, and that's why, you know, we all have opinions, right? Which is fine. My whole thing is you're made to have an opinion. You're not paid, you know, you're paid to have an opinion, okay? But stick to that opinion. That's what I always say, like stick to it. Don't come off of it. Stick to the path of the opinion, man. Like if you have it and you feel strongly about it, fine, announce it, interject. But you know, the opinion that some of these baseball writers have when it comes to the Hall of Fame are just old news, man. Old news, and it's got to change. And then obviously we finish up in the WWE with the Brock Lesnar and the Vince McMahon allegations. There's a lot of bombs getting ready to be dropped over there. I'm telling you that right now. I don't have the report. I've seen some pictures, but we did not get it personally to our house, which means I really have no comment on the logistics of it and what it says. All I can tell you is I know that obviously something is being said. You know, I something is being said behind closed doors. Something is being known. You know, that right now they're trying to figure it all out. They pull them from creative, and they're going to go from there. And they'll be able to flip the script if they have to. But it's going to be very interesting couple months for the WWE. I can assure you that. I can assure you that. Listen, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Tonight was a little bit of a light show. It's okay. It's what happens. People get busy. People do things. I appreciate whoever checked in tonight, checking in. I know we have Foods on who called in, did a fantastic job, gave us a great Eagles chant at the end. Got some good things planned for next week already. Getting some different people on, talking about, we'll be previewing the Super Bowl, depending on who it is. Maybe we'll go through some brackets, and we're going to have some fun. That's all I know. We're going to have some fun, but when we come back on Monday, man, we're going to be talking about Royal Rumble winners. Obviously, there'll definitely be a wrestling segment coming up, but I will tell you this, you know, I do have a youth sports show that's going to be starting soon. And it's going to be kind of like the dark side of youth sports. So if you are ever looking for stories and things of that nature, if you find stories, if you want to reach out to me, please, by all means, you can DM me on any of the social platforms at Tony Cutillo RRM. You can send that out to me. And again, maybe it's a story you want to talk about happening to one of your children or somebody in your development or neighborhood. Let me know, because those stories are going to be documented, and I think they're going to blow your mind. I really do. Because I had some direct attacks against me and my family, and I am definitely going to air it all out there for everybody to listen. It's going to be pretty telling, I can tell you that. But listen, we're going to get back to you on the other side, and when I mean by other side, I mean Monday. Everybody, as always, man, like, you know, enjoy life. Enjoy the day. Like I said to Foods, man, every day above ground's a good day. So, you know, once you're waking up and you're feeling okay, man, the rest of the day is simple to me, man. That's the hardest part is waking up. And if you wake up, you're doing good, man. You're doing good. So like I always say on this show, again, HRS Late Nights, Heat Ratio Sports, Tony Cutillo. As always, like, subscribe, and don't forget, new edition episode of the Blue Coats Beat will drop tomorrow. Me and Coach Joe, we had a great time talking all things Blue Coats and Sixers, so make sure you check that out and subscribe. But hey, man, like I always say, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. Back here.